First ride on the RC390. There's a lot of similarities between this bike and the Duke, but there's also some pretty significant differences. Obviously the dash is quite different. There's not as many options on it as far as things you can do. There's no Bluetooth on this, and just the display is obviously much simpler. Less items to cycle through, less choices to set your preferences for what you want. And other than that, it is the same engine as the Duke 390, although it does seem louder to me. I assumed it was the same exhaust as well, but it definitely seems to me like it's a bit more growl when you get on the gas. But I can't be sure. I didn't jump straight from one to the other, so that's just my initial thought. Now obviously the riding stance is totally different. This is a sport bike. Clip-on bars, very aggressive seat. The angle of the seat is different than the Duke. It's narrower than the Duke. And the steering head is different. The angle of the steering head is different. It's steeper, so less trail on this bike than on the other one, which makes it sharper turning. The bike definitely feels longer. That would be just the position of the bars in comparison to the seat. You are supposed to get a little bit stretched out on a sport bike and stay low and even get tucked in, which is a little tricky for me to do on this bike, but it can be done, sort of, at least. I don't think I'm going to win any races getting full tuck on this thing, but I can get pretty low and rest my chin right on the tank if I need to. So I believe the wheelbase on this bike is actually slightly shorter than on the Duke, simply because of the difference in the steering head angle. It brings the front wheel a little bit closer to the rear wheel, and again adds to the turnability of this bike, how quickly and aggressively it drops into turns. It does seem like the red line on this bike is set a little bit higher than on the Duke. So I don't know if there are any actual internal differences in the engine or not, or if they just decided that this bike is more sporty, so they're going to let it rev up a little bit more and maybe change the fueling of it slightly. It doesn't feel like it has the same bottom end, but when you start to get the RPM up, it definitely pulls a little harder and a little earlier than on the Duke. I say it definitely pulls, but honestly, without a dyno, I can't be sure, so it feels like it's pulling more. So there's not really a lot of differences between this bike and the Duke. The main reason I got this bike is because a lot of people want to ride sport bikes. And it seems to me that if you want to ride a sport bike, you might as well learn how to ride a sport bike properly. I see people all the time with horrible riding posture on sport bikes. So it seems to me that a small, manageable, genuine sport bike would be a good bike for teaching people on if they intend to ride a sport bike. I could do a big long review of the RC390, but it's a sport bike. It's good for people who want to learn to ride sport bikes properly. And aside from that, I think I'll just let the bike do the talking.